Okay, I'm not going to play this guy's videos, just because if I did play these to show you and point out, even though it would be fair use, we know how that goes. This guy would most likely come along and flag it, and complain to get my video reply to his taken down. So I'm not going to play it, but I've got it stopped at this point right here. You know, a year, 2 years ago, what have you, sometime back now, Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City, okay? Police department, this is the nurse. Most people seen this went viral of a cop who wanted to draw blood, and the nurse came out, showed him the paper, and he didn't have any of the stuff that was required for them to draw the man's blood, and the cop arrested her and hauled her out of there. It became major, and it went all over the place, blah, 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 okay? And I think most of all of you know, we do have a police state, we do have corruption within law enforcement, but we also got cops that don't buy into that corruption. There are still some good cops out here. Not a lot of them, but there are. And the reason I'm doing this reply at this guy's, and you see the name I've given it to the video, is because I've talked about this before. I've dealt with it my whole life. People with egos. And what have I told people over and over and over? Power and money absolutely corrupt the human mind. That's right, money and power. Somebody gets a whole lot of money, more than others, they start looking down on other people. Their head swells up, corrupts the human mind. Power, being in a position of power, absolutely corrupts the human mind. Ego absolutely corrupts the human mind. I've said this over and over and over to people because it's true. And what we have here is this man is an egomaniac. He's running on ego. And you got a clear case of corruption here. He went into this place right here. Okay, you see the nurse. We'll back up one video. We'll shut it off because I don't want to, play it. We're going to go here. Back to the beginning. I don't want to play his stuff here. This is where he takes you. He said some stuff that's correct. This is a very fancy building, a high dollar building. He went in and proceeded to start filming around. He'd done nothing wrong. Okay. All the way up to he talked to this guy at the counter. You see, he was going around the building filming. Nothing was said to him. He couldn't get to the staircase or go up to the other floors. He asked about it and told he wasn't allowed up there. Guy behind the counter here wasn't too pleasant with him. He told him to shut the camera off. This guy right here. Okay, literally told him to shut the camera down. And then had cops come out to escort him out of the building. Okay. But the cops didn't exactly escort him out of the building. When the cops did come out and approached him, these two cops right here, they were actually pretty polite to him. They was actually really pretty polite to him completely. Okay? And the cop explained what the building is and why he couldn't go up to the other floors and blah, 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 blah. Okay? I'll go through security, and he was actually polite back to the cop. Okay? But he set the cop up. Okay? You'd have to watch this in your entirety. I'm going to put the link in the more so you can watch it yourself. I'm not going to play it because I'm not going to give this guy a reason to come and say I played his video, okay? And it's his video, okay? Even though he's published it into the public, and it belongs to the public now, and I could do this under fair use. This guy's an egomaniac, so it would be wounding his corruption, his ego, his corruption, okay? Now, I understand that we have a police state, I understand we have a lot of corrupt cops, okay? But I also understand there's still some good cops out here. Okay, I understand what went viral when it came to the nurse. But my problem is this guy's ego. He set these cops up. And then he tried to flip the script to paint these cops out to be villains. These cops actually treated him polite. They were nice. They didn't tell him to shut off his camera whatsoever. Not like the guy behind the glass did. The guy behind the glass literally told him to shut off his camera. Okay, he wasn't allowed to film him. Didn't appreciate being filmed. Okay, and then called these cops to escort the guy off the property, which these cops didn't do. And they told him as long as he didn't go beyond the security point, that he could, in the public lobby there, he could walk all over that public lobby and record all he wanted. They didn't mind that at all. Now he's using, oh, well, to disturb the peace or blah, 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 because the cop gave him, as long as you're not doing these things, then we have the right to escort you off the property. Basically, if he made a scene or public disturbance. Okay. Now, this guy here called that and said, oh no, it's my constitutional right. Well, no, your constitutional right wouldn't be to go in and create a disturbance somewhere and say that's your right to do that. So, that would be wrong on this guy, but this guy's an egomaniac. He proved it when I watched his part 1 and part 2. He proved it without a reasonable doubt, okay? He came up and he did editing work on this video, part 1 and part 2. The nurse I showed you, I deliberately showed you, because these cops was nothing but polite to this guy. Allowed him to go on recording the whole 9 yards. Then as they were going to go on their way, I'm going to go forward here. As these two cops explained everything to him, and he questioned them, and they were nothing but polite to him. Okay? Didn't even ask him to leave the building or stop recording. They agreed that he had the right to record. But as these cops walked away, see, he's got the nurse put in here. He threw this incident with the nurse that happened in Salt Lake City in their face. As they were starting to walk away, after talking to him, they're done. He's allowed to be in the lobby. He's allowed to go record whatever he wants. As they're walking away, he says, oh, you ain't going to be roughing up no more nurses, are you? So he instigated the following event that he put into this video. He edited this video, so we don't know what else he may have done. Okay? But he definitely instigated it by basically comparing them to one bad cop. Now, I understand we had bad cops all over the place. But these cops done him no wrong. These cops literally was polite to him, nice to him, allowed him to record, told him he could record all over that lobby, what points he could not go past. Okay, the time of day it was, and he couldn't go past them, blah, blah, blah. They were nothing but respectful to him. As they walked away, he directly said to them, you guys ain't going to go rough up no more nurses, are you? Then after saying that to them, he went ahead and showed you the footage that everybody knows about of this nurse. Okay? Now I want you to pay attention to what he done. He instigated this situation himself. Okay? And showed you the nurse. Then he jumped back to the two cops who had already walked away, which means he's left something out, which means he's deceiving you. Because when you watch this video, you're going to clearly see the cops walking away after the conversation is done. And you're going to hear him say to them, "You guys ain't going to go rough up no nurses, are you?" And then he throws the nurse video in your face in this video. And when he comes back after the nurse video, you got this cop back with his phone pointing at him, which means he's hiding something from you, because these cops had walked away when he made that statement. So what else did he say to him to provoke him? He don't want you knowing that. But he clearly told on himself that he's full of ego. Because when you get to part 2, you will clearly see he keeps throwing the nurse video in your face over and over and over again of this nurse being arrested by a Salt Lake City cop. Okay? He throws that in your face over and over again. All you got to do is I watched part 1 and part 2, and I'll tell you what, it stands out big time. Big time. These two cops was nothing but respectful to this guy, and this guy set them up. He used his ego to set them up. And he's hiding stuff from you as well, because if you saw, I'm sure he knows you'd call him out on his ego. His corrupt behavior from his ego. This is what ego does for you people. It corrupts you. This guy's out for his own views. For his own views. He has commercials in the middle of his video. Most likely he's monetized his channel for money. He's after views and subscribers. That's what this is. This has only been up a couple days. He already has 19,000 views. Yeah. That's because he's an egomaniac and he sees he has lots of subs. And he purposely decked this video out to get people to watch. My problem in here is the fact that these two cops were actually nice to him. He made an assumption on what a cop said, how they were going to set him up. But see, the problem is these two cops had walked away. The last thing you'll see when you watch this is when these two cops are through talking to him, they're literally done. They're done talking to him. The conversation's over. And they were nothing but polite to him. They allowed him to stay and do his filming. Okay? And as they walked away is when he made that crack to them. Okay? No lie. As they walked away, I'm going to take the audio out of this. I'm going to play it long enough with no audio because I'm not going to get him to fucking have anything on me. If he flags this video now, it's just because he's pissed at me exposing him. That's not my problem, that's his. Maybe he should control his own behavior. See the smile on the face? There's no competition. If you listen to this video, I'll give you the link. For those who have not seen it, you will see these cops were actually pretty nice to him. They really was. They didn't ask him to leave or anything. He was allowed to stay there and film. Okay, so we're going to play it to that point, and I'm going to pause it. There they go. Right about there. There they were walking away. When you listen to this video in its entirety and the audio, you would hear they were done. The conversation was over. He was free to walk around that lobby and film all he wanted now. There was no incident whatsoever. And here they are walking away right there. And right there's where he made the statement. Right as they started walking away, he said to them clearly, "You ain't gonna rough up no more nurses, are you?" He instigated this. Then he took you straight to the nurse. Do you see what he done here? He took you straight to something that happened, a year or two ago? Okay, when the nurse, this situation went viral with this nurse, he took you straight to that video. So he tells these cops we're nothing but respectful and nice to him. As they're walking away and the conversation's done, he openly says to them, "You ain't gonna rough up no more nurses." Now, when the nurse video's done, these cops had walked away. The conversation was over. Pay attention. The conversation was completely over. They were going back to their own business, not bothering him no more. He had the freedom to roam around and film. And what does he do? When he comes back from the nurse, what do we see? They'd walked away. See, this cop started clear down here. This cop came back and has got the camera on him. Now, why would they do that? Why didn't he show you that? You know why he didn't show you that? Because he provoked them as they were walking away. He provoked them. His ego. He don't want you seeing what everything else he said to him. He don't want you knowing what he said to provoke them. He wants you to think they came back and started boom, boom, boom. He used his ego and set these cops up. He provoked this incident himself and went on. Okay, of course we're going to have commercial because they got to pull this, you know. You got to have your commercial. And he went on after provoking them. And this cop here, he's already provoked him. Did not grab his camera at all. He held his hand up to block the view of him filming them people leaving because he had already provoked them. That's right, because he, James Freeman, already provoked the cops and hid that from you. He edited that out. And in this video, in part 2, you will observe him. He will not go back to where the cops walked out. He's got them coming back at him again. He shows, see this? He plays some parts from the first video, just short clips. Not enough to see anything. Everything you saw in part 1, he'll put back in your face, and he keeps putting the nurse back in your face, and he puts, when you came back, after they walked away, in your face over and over again. And the nurse, over and over again. Then he leaves. He willingly walked out the door, but he had already provoked the cops, so the cops followed him. And then his ego really goes off towards the end. When these cops finally just blow him off and drive away, he starts yelling at them to get their supervisor. And he ordered them to get the supervisor. That's his ego. This fucking guy here is an egomaniac. He's a total egomaniac. He's let his ego go to his head. He represents corruption. He took 2 cops who done nothing. Now, because this nurse situation happened, doesn't give him the right to go to this place and provoke these cops. They walked away. They had a good conversation with him. They were nothing but polite. And as they walk away, they're done talking to him. They're done. They're letting him stay there and film. They didn't even kick him out. Okay? He turns around and says to them as they're walking away, "You ain't gonna rough up no more nurses, are you?" And takes you straight to the news, the footage of the nurse. And when you come back, what do you see? So the instigator of this situation in this video is this guy right here. He painted these cops out to be villains for his own ego. These cops, for all we know, wasn't even there or even standing around there during that nurse incident. During the time that nurse incident he showed you went viral, do we know for sure that these two cops were the ones standing there, that they were part of it? Do we know that? No. Do I know this? They was nothing but respectful to him. They talked to him polite. They talked to him nice. Everything was hunky-dory. They got along. They allowed him to stay and told him to film whatever he wants in the lobby area that's open. And then he turns around as they're walking away and says, "You ain't going to rough up no more nurses, are you?" Now, what he said after that, I don't know. Because he managed to turn it. They kept walking after he said that. Pay attention to part 1. Right here. Watch closely and pay attention when you get to the other two cops walk away. Listen to the conversation. And pay attention close. When you do, then you're going to know there's not a doubt about it. Part of his recording is missing. He edited it out. He don't want you seeing it. That's because he provoked these two cops. These two cops are not the villains he painted them out to be. Now, I'm not sticking up for law enforcement that's corrupt. I'm not sticking up for the cops at all when it comes to corrupt cops. Okay, we know how this goes. But at the same time, if a cop's done nothing, and you got an egomaniac that just wants to make him out to be bad because his ego's corrupted him, that's what we have here. Okay, that's the reason I gave the name of the video that I gave it. Because this guy's corrupt. This guy right here has an ego flying out of control that has totally corrupted him. And he's willing to go out of his way and hide truth from you while he claims he's doing justice. And paint somebody who's done nothing to him out as a villain. And that's exactly what he's done. I don't have a doubt about it. I suggest you watch part 1 in its entirety and part 2 and pay attention and you'll see it with your own eyes. This was no accident that as they walked away, here's the nurse incident. And as he comes back from the nurse incident, the two cops that walked away, one's clear down here. And the other one's clear back up here by him, pointing his phone at him. See, what didn't he show you right there? This cop's clear down here already, which means when they were walking away, they got at least that far away from him. He didn't show you that. Because they walked together. Now he's standing down there, and this cop's clear up here by him again, pointing his phone at him. That's not an accident. That says that this guy right here, he's got an ego out of control. It's completely corrupted him. He wants his damn subscribers and fame, and don't care who he makes look bad, and he don't want you to know he provoked it. He wants to paint them out as the villains. And in this situation, I'm going to tell you right now, in this particular situation, these two cops are not the villains. The villain is right here. This is your villain. This is your bad guy right here. This is your corruption. These two cops ain't the corruption this time. He is. Because he's allowed his ego to corrupt him. So I wanted to point that out to you. I see right through this shit. The only corruption in this particular incident is this guy right here. These two cops done nothing. He's the one that stirred this up. And you can take that to the bank.